That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of That Sounds Fun. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs. Oh, I can't wait for y'all to hear today's episode. I'm so happy to be here with you. But before we dive in, I want to tell you about one of our incredible sponsors. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You may be into the fun, scary stuff that this month brings, like haunted houses and pranks and scary costumes, but we're not playing around with like actual fear. No. If fear and anxiety is a real thing that you battle often, it is for a lot of us, therapy is a great tool for processing all of that and finding ways to overcome what you're dealing with. Because sometimes the scariest thing is ignoring what is really going on in and around us. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It is not scary. It's done entirely online, so it's super convenient and flexible to your schedule. And getting started is so easy. You just fill out a quick questionnaire. Y'all know we love a quiz. And you'll be matched with a licensed therapist. Plus, you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. So you make sure to find the right match for you. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/thatsoundsfun today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thatsoundsfun. Today on the show, I get to catch up with one of my favorite dudes, Mack Brock. This is Mack's third time back with us, but his first time flying solo. He and his wife, Meredith, have been here twice for our couple series in 2019 and 2021. I have no doubt you're already listening to Mack's music and probably singing his songs at church, but don't even realize he's the one who wrote them. Mack was one of the founding members of Elevation Worship, but we get to talk about his brand new full-length album that just released last week, y'all. It is so good. It's called This Is Holy. The lyrics, the music, the song his daughter got to be a part of. Okay, we're going to talk all about it. So here's my conversation with my friend, Mack Brock.
That sounds fun.
Mack Brock, welcome back to That Sounds Fun.
Back.
Three-peat.
Yes, come on, let's go.
Listen, when you get to 5, you get in the Hall of Fun right over there.
All right.
It's
I'll
happening.
be back next week.
Consider me in.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to happen. But this is also your first solo episode.
I know.
Where'd you leave Meredith? Where is she?
She is at home taking care of all the things.
All the kids.
Yeah.
Listen, last time you were on the show in 2021, you had your 2 kids and y'all were fostering a third.
Yes.
Tell the update on all that.
Well, now we adopted him.
Yeah.
He is an official Brock, and it's awesome. We're having a fun time.
What do you know about God that you didn't know before you adopted?
How much I need to pray to him all the time. Like,
Really?
literally, yeah. I mean, I think when I first became a dad, I learned a lot about God, and you learn a lot about the way the father sees his children. I think the older my kids get, and
What are their ages now?
13, pray for us.
Yeah,
And then my daughter is 9, and then our youngest is 4.
Okay.
And I think, honestly, like the thing that the Lord reminds me of all the time is like if I'm having to discipline them or my kids do something that they know they shouldn't do,
Yeah.
and I'm having to be the parent, I'm also like very reminded of how much grace the Lord has in my life. And I'm like, man, I do this to him.
Right,
Literally
right.
all the time.
Right.
And he's so kind and he's so patient with me. And so it stretches my instinctual reaction to like come down with the hammer.
Wow.
And then I've had to like be like, no, okay, let's process this together.
Yeah.
This is like relationship and I want to have that with my kids. So yeah, that's never ending.
Yeah. Is that different now that there's 3? Has it
I think
increased?
3 is just
Now it's zone
there is an
coverage.
increase of chaos. There's an increase of calendar meetings
Yeah.
of trying to manage everything. Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's like a whirlwind.
Right. Do they all like each other currently?
Occasionally.
Yeah, we did it. Me and
There's
my sisters
occasionally
did.
times
Yeah.
where they're all like in sync.
Yeah.
And then a lot of fighting too.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure. I mean, those are ages of that.
So Cyrus, our daughter,
Yeah.
she just broke her arm last week
I saw.
for the 4th time.
You're lying.
No.
What happened?
Monkey barst.
Oh, classic.
Classic.
Remove them from all playgrounds.
I
That's
know.
when we run for
What are they
president
doing
and
there?
vice president. You be president. I'll be vice president. We are going to get rid of monkey
I think
bars.
it's the ortho surgeons that sponsor them, like to be installed at the playgrounds.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it's sad. And
Were y'all there? Or was it at
No,
school?
it was on a field trip.
Oh, God, love her.
Honestly, our kids have broken their bones so many times, and we've never been at any one of them. It's always some freak
They're
accident.
like, we do this independent.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just get the phone call, and then we got to rush to the ER. But when she was in the ER, and she was just like, hadn't seen the doctor yet and was just in so much pain and crying so much, she was just like begging to see her brother. She was like, Harvey, I just need Harvey. He just will love me and take care of me. I just want Harvey. And I have to tell him that when his instinct is to like pick on her.
Yeah, that's right.
And
or
to be
pull
annoyed,
away
or to be annoyed with her.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
hey, just so you know, like you have such a massive influence on your sister's life.
Right. And for Harvey being 13, I mean, he is into very cool stuff.
Harvey's the best.
He's so cool. I mean,
He's one of my favorite
So I've
people
never
ever.
raised kids.
Yes.
How did you get all your kids to be into cool stuff? Like
All
they're
three
so
of them.
independent.
Yeah, they're all into different things. They're all into fun, interesting things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't do anything. Like, you know, my son is into robotics. So he's on the
And he's
robotics
like
team.
really good, right?
He's good at robotics. And just last year, he joined the wrestling team, which is like new for him
Yeah.
and new for me being like a sports dad.
Sports dad.
Yeah. But it's the best. Like going to the wrestling matches, you know, on the weeknights, it's like one of my favorite things to do. And then Cyrus, she's like the musical one, so she kind of
Oh
got
my gosh,
that
she has
from
a song
me.
on the album.
She does.
Oh,
It's my
Mac,
favorite,
We're going to
yes.
talk about it.
And she is in like musical theater now is like her
Yeah.
thing. So I'm a theater dad as well.
Right.
And then my youngest, you know, he's still kind of figuring it out, but I think he'll be athletic, and
Yeah.
he's very into that, and he's just
Yeah.
very into active. He's like the type where we're like, what's the youngest we can get him into like jujitsu classes?
Yeah,
like
right.
he needs that.
He needs to kick and be, yeah.
Yeah,
My
right.
nephew's that
That
way too. My
aggressive.
brother-in-law was out of town for a week or so, and my sister, I would watch on FaceTime as my nephew was getting like amped up, and I was like,
Yes.
he needs to punch something.
He
Help him.
needs that, and it needs to not be me.
Yeah, that's right. And
or
it couldn't be
his
my sister. Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. So it's like, no, we need my brother-in-law to come home and like wrestle with
So
him.
we're
and
like
get some of
counting
that
down
out.
the days that we can sign him up
Yeah.
for that. Yeah.
I listened to a pastor, Tyson, the other day, John Tyson, say both his kids are black belts. And
Really?
maybe in karate or jiu-jitsu, and one of the two. And I was like, oh, that is so cool
Yeah.
to get all that way through.
Me and Meredith were watching a movie the other day, and it was like a ex-Marine, and he was beating up all the bad guys and all this stuff. And I told Meredith, I was like, I wish I knew how to fight. Like, I could do nothing if I was in this situation, except now like rely on my kids to bail me out.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe I need to take jujitsu
Yeah, we all
classes.
need to
I
get
need
involved.
to do something.
I know.
Yeah.
Jonathan Pecluda does it. A couple of my buddies do it. Luke Norsworthy. A couple of them are doing.
People that do it get
Chandler does it.
way into it.
Yeah, they get
like
way
they
into
get
it.
hyper like obsessed.
That's right.
So
it's
I don't
not
know if
like
I have the
cross stitching.
bandwidth-
I can cross
Right.
stitch and not bring it up all the time. It is CrossFit.
So I'm just gonna keep telling people I just don't have the bandwidth. I would get into it. I would.
It asks so much of you.
I would probably be really good at it.
Yeah.
I just don't have time
I
for
don't
it
have
right
time.
now.
No, you're on the
So,
road too
yeah.
much. Speaking of, this is going to be after people hear this after, but we're both in California this weekend.
I know.
Are you on the road a ton right now?
It's a good bit. Yeah. It's a lot of
Mostly doing weekends?
one-off weekend conferences, midweek. You know, so it's a lot of like in and out. So
Yeah.
it's rare that I'm gone for long periods of time, which is
Yeah.
nice with
Yeah.
the way pace of life and the where our kids are at now. Like I'm home a lot still.
Yeah.
But I am at the airport a lot.
Yeah, that's right. That's Charlotte Airport.
Right.
You're frequenting.
Yes.
Yeah, I am the same. My fall is starting to kick up where I'm gone
Yeah.
for windows of time. I just booked a flight. You're going to so appreciate this in our seat. The goal is always be fully where you are and then go home. So
Yes.
be fully
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
Be there 100%. And then the next plane after you're fully there is the one
Yes.
you want to be on.
Right. Yeah.
And so in an event coming up, I have a 2-hour drive to the airport and then the last flight out of the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm on stage at 12. I have to leave the venue by 1:30.
Is this the one that we're at together? Okay, this is a different one.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
different one. I'm on at 12 till like 12:45.
Yeah.
I have to leave the venue by 1:30 in order to return the rental car and get to the airport on
Right.
time. And from the minute I wake up, I'm going to be anxious till my butt is on that plane.
Okay, so Meredith makes fun of me about this, but I have that constant countdown timer going.
Yes.
But it's not even in my mind. Like I set a timer on my phone.
Until when you'll be home?
Not until when I'll be home, but like if I know, all right, my plane starts boarding in
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yep.
Hey Siri, start a timer for 3 hours, just so
Oh,
I can
interesting.
have it kind of even gives me like more peace than it does anxiety, because I can know like,
Oh, I've got
all
2.5
right, yeah, I'm
hours.
good on time. Like I'm
Interesting.
fine. But you say that there's so many conferences and stuff, like we'll see each other next week.
Yep.
But we'll probably.
That's this week, pal. That's 4 days from now.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, we'll probably like miss each other, and just
Right.
because it's so like, hey, all right.
That's how Phil and I were a few weeks ago. I was like, wait, we're the same thing.
But I've
no, we're not.
I've got to get.
Yeah,
get home.
because sometimes it's Friday, sometimes it's Saturday,
I know.
sometimes it's
It's all
session
over
one,
the place.
session two, right?
Right.
So we can be on a bill with 15 of our friends, and we see
And,
two of them.
Yeah, you see him in the hallway as you're
exactly
walking
right.
on stage.
That's exactly right. But again, we are all the way there when we're there.
Yeah.
It is never about leaving early or not wanting to be
I'm
there.
so grateful. Honestly, I am so grateful to do what I get to do.
Oh, do you
And
remember
it's
when
the
we
best.
wanted to do
Yeah,
it
and
and
I
didn't get
love
to?
it.
Oh.
And I even I don't mind traveling. I don't mind
I don't either.
flights. And
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for everything, but I still will try to maximize
Yeah.
or minimize my time that I'm away.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
right.
if I can like get
That's right.
in and get out, like that's still like the goal.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way.
I love it.
I love flying. I think it is
Right.
so fun. It's
I like it.
I'm not anxious about it 9 out of 10 times. I like airports. I love seeing people. It is a fun part of the job to me.
It's the one time that I'm not online. Like I don't buy internet on the plane. Just
Interesting.
it's like the one time that I'm totally disconnected.
Do you turn on the messaging or no?
No, I don't have anything.
Even when we go, even this weekend when you fly to California, when you fly East Coast to West Coast.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's 5 hours.
What's your why?
Oh, I think it's like literally like the only time that I'm disconnected from everything.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think. I mean, I think that it's if there was an emergency happening, I couldn't do anything about it.
Sure.
And so I don't know. You're making me
Great.
kind of second guess.
No,
maybe,
there's
hold on,
you couldn't
maybe
do
I
anything.
should do messaging.
No. I'm just thinking, man,
I'm easily influenced.
That's right.
So you'll
not.
see me on the flight this week, and I'll
Oh my
be,
gosh,
I'll
I'm
be
like-
texting. And
I saw that. No, I pay for Wi-Fi sometimes. I usually turn on my messaging. But like this weekend, when I was coming home from New York, I kind of needed to like sit with the Lord about something on the flight.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm just not going to turn this on. And I'm just going to I have one worship playlist that sits on my device.
yeah.
And so I just thought, no, we're just going to do that and just think and pray.
Yeah, I have the same. I have like my downloaded playlist that
Yeah.
I can, so I can still like listen to music
Yeah.
or download like a podcast or something.
Yep,
but
yep.
it is nice to have that. It's not that long, but
Are
just
you
to
and
totally
Josh still
disconnect.
making your podcast, by the way? Your sports show.
Sadly, we're not.
You retired it all together? I thought we were just out of season. Football came
well,
back and
all right,
you did
here's the
it?
deal. We're always just kind of out of season. So we never officially retired. And what's funny, you'll appreciate this. I mean, we got into it and it was so much fun. Like I love
Yes,
doing it.
yes.
So much work.
I know.
God bless you and your team. Y'all are doing this like for
Well, that's the difference. is I have a
15 or
team.
20 different podcasts.
And you-
It was just me and Josh
Yeah.
and Joe. But it was so fun. But now we have the pleasure of like anytime we have like a sports thought or anything, we just text each other like, this would have been great for the pod.
Oh, shoot.
This would have been awesome.
I mean,
an
the
awesome
Falcons last
conversation for the
night
pod. Yeah.
over the Eagles.
I know.
I want a whole pod.
It would have been
on-
great, but maybe one day.
Yeah, it still exists.
Yeah, it's not retired.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to it, just once a year, twice a
hang in
year,
there.
it might just pop up and you can listen and we'll talk about week 13
Yeah.
of the NFL
Yeah, there
and
you go.
then we'll go away for
I mean,
another
the NBA is what
7
you love
months.
the most, right?
I mean, yes, NBA, NFL,
Yeah.
kind of like it all,
Yeah.
but those are the two big ones.
Well, say the name of the show so people can go subscribe and wait.
Oh, good at sports.
Good at sports. That's
Yes.
it. That's it. I was like, sports ball? No, good
That's
at
so
sports.
funny.
Good at sports. Okay, y'all just got back from a cruise.
We did.
Who'd you go with?
So Meredith and I it was a Lifeway cruise.
Oh, fun.
With Lisa Turkers,
Oh, I love
Joel
it.
Mudumale.
I love
I know. So it was like
Joel.
our crew.
Yeah.
It was in the
Where'd y'all go?
Mediterranean.
In the
Yeah,
Mediterranean?
so it was like all the places that
So is it like
we wanted to go.
history of the Bible stuff?
We went to Ephesus, so we had like a day there.
Cool.
But for the most part, it was like went to like Santorini and
How did
we were
I
at
see
Rome and
your daughter break her arm and I didn't see you go to Greece? Did you post on Instagram?
not. Maybe once.
Okay,
Yeah, it
I'm like,
wasn't. Yeah,
what
we
did
weren't
I do
posting.
wrong here?
We weren't posting much.
Okay.
And so I was leading worship. Meredith was kind of like emceeing it.
Yeah.
Lisa and Joel were speaking but we were just enjoying
What'd you learn
it.
that you didn't know? What was like, was there like a mind blowing fact? You know, we have our Wowie Zowie button.
Wowie zowie.
And so did you have a Wowie Zowie moment?
Man,
Joel tends to do that to me.
right.
Dr. Joel.
The only thing that the wowie zowie moment was like really heavy and like really like
Okay.
sad,
We
like
can handle
next
that, I
level
think.
sad.
Oh,
Or
interesting.
can we get into that
Sure.
right now?
Yeah, if you want to, but you don't have to.
I didn't know this, and this just kind of like changed a lot. Like it kind of blew my mind. When we were in Ephesus, we did like a tour,
I've never been.
of all the places that Paul was. And,
Yeah.
And in a weird kind of like, it was funny at first, like we saw like the bathrooms and it's just like, it's long, just like long seats with just holes. And,
Yeah, yeah.
that's where they would go. And then our guide was telling us that the way they cleaned themselves was they always had vinegar and they had a sponge. And all the soldiers, that was a requirement for them to always carry vinegar and a sponge. So they could always like clean themselves when they're
Yeah.
out. And then he made the connection when Jesus was on the cross
Oh, gosh.
and said that he was thirsty. And I had always just thought vinegar, that's so awful. Like that in and of itself was such an awful thing. But then when you kind of tie it back to what that even like represented,
Ew.
it's just like a whole nother level of like, holy cow, like good grief.
What
like,
humiliation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that was like a really humbling,
Yeah.
kind of crazy thing to, I guess, be enlightened to.
Yeah. I have some technical questions. Was the whole ship y'all, or were there multiple
No, it was
tours?
like just a big cruise ship.
Got it.
And we had like a group of 700
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
That's so fun.
And it was it was an amazing trip, amazing group. We had the best time. And Meredith
Yeah.
and I,
Did you take the kids?
no,
No, okay.
no.
No, Annie.
we wanted to go to Greece for our honeymoon. Like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
But we were very poor. And so like even just the fact that we like this is like the first time we've ever been together. So it was almost like a
Wow.
little bit of like a sweet
Yeah.
fulfillment of a dream that we
Yeah.
had back when we were first married.
I just listened to a podcast. We'll link to it with Rita Springer and Mia Fields. Have you listened to it?
No.
Are you listening to Rita's podcast?
I do love Rita though.
Dude.
Yeah.
She's
a force.
She is lights out right
I
now.
know.
I mean,
I know.
I think she's probably always been this. She just hasn't had a podcast. But she is like,
She is like that because like she'll get in your face like
Yes.
talking to you and speaking over you and
Yes.
speaking to you in such like a powerful like
Yeah.
unique way where you're taking notes as she's talking
yes,
to you.
that's it.
Yeah,
I
don't
feel
wanna
like
miss
her
this.
and John Eldridge have really stepped into the mother-father role
Yes.
of our generation, of
Yeah.
mothering and fathering us.
Yes.
So she mothers so beautifully, but they have this whole conversation about in their podcast episode. I mean, I was listening yesterday while I was getting my nails done and I was getting teary. I had to stop it. I was
Really?
like, I can't, the Holy Spirit and I can't do this here. We're going to go home and
You're
finish
right.
this. But they were talking about how God never forgets what he says to you. That we may forget or we may think he's forgotten,
Yeah.
but he has never forgotten.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when things like that happen, you just go like, oh yeah, God
Yeah.
didn't forget.
I know. It was like, it wasn't even like on our radar of like this was a dream that we once had. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't even
Yeah.
on our radar anymore.
Yeah.
And then it just worked out.
It's like he just keeps,
Yeah.
it's so kind that
was
God just
sweet.
keeps the list of like, hey, I told you I would do that.
Right.
I told you that
Yeah.
that would be, you asked me for that? Okay.
yeah.
I'm a good father
It's sweet.
who gives good gifts. So just hang on 18 years.
Yeah. I know.
It'll be there.
Be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. It
That's
was great.
beautiful. Did you feel like a zoo, like an animal zoo on a cruise? That is my fear. Is that
Have
a
you done
boat-
one? Have you
No.
ever- okay, you
I mean,
haven't
I've
done one?
I've been on a cruise, a very small ship, that went around the Hawaiian Islands, and we got off halfway through because we did not enjoy it.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
just the experience, the cruising.
Yeah.
So you haven't,
I haven't big boat cruised.
but you haven't done like a that sounds fun
No,
cruise.
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Because I'm afraid that it will feel like an animal in a zoo versus me getting to be like actual Annie.
All right, so for me, it was just I'm just the worst. Like this was like a Lisa Turkhurst thing. Like so, they're there to see her, they're there to see Joel, and I'm just the
You're
you know, I'm just the
underplaying
intro.
the Mack Brockness of yourself.
and so I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And everybody like there were tons of people that would like just come up and be
Which is
kind
so
and say
sweet.
like
I
you know
know.
this has ministered to us so much or you know, it's
Yeah.
been such a great week, but it was never. I didn't have a single like awkward interaction. I don't
I
think.
know. And my friends who listen to the podcast are so fun to be with that it would
Right.
be so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
They like keep asking us to do a cruise. It would be so fun. I'm just afraid that I will want to like take a nap by the pool, and that will not
Yeah.
be an acceptable
Right,
choice.
right. So there's also like the cool thing about even what we did is there are lots of days where you get off the boat and you go do your own thing.
Oh.
And so we would maybe do like a morning session and then we
It was like, see y'all
yeah,
tomorrow
or we
morning.
didn't do a session that day, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'd like go off to Santorini
Okay.
and then you do your own thing. And so
Okay.
even that, like
We
you're
should
able to get
probably
off.
do it.
Just do it.
We should just do it.
Just do it.
Cruise companies ask us to do it. Our
Oh
friends
yeah,
on the other
I
side
mean,
ask us to do it.
it would be amazing. It would be so
It would
fun.
be so fun.
Yeah.
I just don't like if all the toilets stop working. I'm in charge of this. Like I feel
No,
like I'd
you're
be
not
like
in charge.
responsible the whole time. Not
No.
only am I I feel responsible.
That's the thing is the other people, like the people in charge are in
Okay,
charge.
okay.
You just gotta be.
People in charge are in charge.
You just gotta.
We're
do
only
your
in charge
thing.
of our sessions.
Yeah.
I could listen to Joel Muddamalle and Lisa Turkers teach for always.
I know. Yeah, it's so they're
so
such a
good.
good duo, and
Yeah.
especially like in their podcast with Jim, like
Yeah.
because Lisa just has such a unique way of like hitting all your heart
Yes.
emotions, and
Yep.
like that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
You know, and then Joel will be like, well, actually, in the Bible,
Yeah.
this is how it all ties back to
Yeah,
scripture.
the Hebrew
Yeah,
word for that.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You're like,
he
okay.
is so smart. I love him on Blurry Creatures.
See, I haven't listened to any of his. I've
What?
talked to him so much about it because
Have you listened to Blurry Creatures at all?
I haven't. I know I'm supposed to. I
Mack!
know. And I talked to Joel about it a lot because he's always, you know, I'm kind of interested in like that, like the spiritual side and like all
yeah.
the unseen stuff.
Yeah.
And he's so unique at being kind of wise enough to like understand just even
Yeah.
like biblically like here.
Yeah.
But I haven't listened to the podcast yet. I need to.
Dude, get on board. They're so weird. They're so
Almost
blurry.
I am almost exclusively sports only podcast.
Are
Like pretty
you?
much that's the only
Okay.
ones that I listen to.
Okay.
And it's the same people saying the same thing.
Right,
like I'm like,
right.
well, I want to hear Colin Cowherd say the same thing that
Yep,
Pardon My
yep,
Take just said.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
But I don't know why.
I'm
It's
just
just like
telling
I
you, throw
shouldn't.
in a blurry creature
Okay, I
here
need
and
to.
there.
I need to.
Especially the Joel ones. The Joel one, they just released 2 live ones from a trip to Peru
Gotcha.
with
Yes.
Joel and this other guy, Tim Alberino.
Okay.
And they're both, and they don't agree on everything, and it is fun to hear
Yeah.
them. Like they're talking about where did the Giants in Genesis 6 go, and they don't necessarily agree. I
Right.
mean, it is
And that's the
really
other good thing
cool.
about Joel is like he's an easy person to disagree. Like he's easy in the sense that like it's not contentious and it's not
That's right.
like gnarly and like okay, we have to end our friendship
Yeah,
now. Like
he seems very chill about it.
oh, he's the best.
Yeah, okay.
That sounds fun.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation, tell you about one of our incredible partners, Higha Health. We're big fans of Higha Health around here for all of my mini BFFs. Most kids' vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar and can contribute to a variety of health issues. So we love Higha Health because it's the pediatrician-approved chewable vitamin that is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk. And you've got to check out their new Kids Probiotic and Nighttime Essentials too. And I love this part. Higha Health comes in these really cute glass bottles that are reusable, and your kids get to decorate them with stickers. And don't miss this. Right now, their bottles are available in Barbie pink with a limited edition Barbie unboxing experience, including a Barbie bottle and Barbie stickers. It is so cute. We've worked out a special deal with Higha for their best-selling children's vitamin. You'll get 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to highahealth.com/thatsoundsfun. Go to HIYAHEALTH.com/thatsoundsfun and get your kids the full body nourishment that they need to grow into healthy adults. And now back to our conversation with Mack.
That sounds fun.
Also, new album. This is Holy. We
Yes.
do need to talk about it, even though we also
We
have
don't
a
have
thousand.
to.
I mean,
We
I
can.
want to. Let me tell you why I want to is because I have in front of me printed every lyric from this album because it's just so. Oh my gosh!
I asked you to
haven't-
make me copies too because
And
I
we
don't.
did not.
I don't. Yeah.
I will just read them to you. I need you to know that we offer for our friends who get the AFD Week in Review email on Fridays this exclusive opportunity to ask questions to our guests.
Oh, okay.
The first one is when will Good at Sports make a return? When will Good
Really?
at Sports make a return? So we've already covered
Alright,
it.
it's coming.
We've already come. Now you just need
No
to call
promises.
Josh. Just you and Josh and Joe back at it.
Literally what's funny about that is we'll get those comments like on Instagram and stuff, and we always will screen cap it and send it to her. And be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Look, one of our dozen of fans is reaching out.
That's exactly right. Well, Sally would like you to know.
Sally, all right. We're
She's
gonna
one
make
of
it
your
happen.
dozens as well.
Yes.
Okay, talk to me about the process of writing a song. This whole album happens in the midst of adoption. And this is correct me, this is your first album since 2020? Have you
Yeah.
had one in the middle?
No. This is
so
like
this is this whole season where the world is changing. I mean,
Right.
everyone who has a prophetic voice is saying the world is changing faster than it ever has.
Right.
And that we're going into something that's never happened on Earth before.
Yeah.
Ish. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a dramatic
Yeah.
retelling, but that's kind of the vibe.
Right.
And this whole album happens in that window.
Yeah.
How is it different than the other ones?
I don't think I even have thought about it in that way. You know, so much changed in 2020. That's when
Right.
we became a foster family and got our son, and just everything in the world was like changing. And I think just through those years, I never really stopped writing. Even if I'm not writing like for an album or for a specific project,
Yeah.
almost every project that I've ever done has not been, all right, I need to collect a group of songs to record, to release on an album. It's always just a natural, me just writing.
Are you writing every day right now? Like, do
Not
you write
every day, but often,
Yeah.
often and writing with a lot of people often.
Yeah.
And, during COVID, it was all like on Zoom writes, and got burnout on that. Like that
Yeah.
became like very uninspiring after
Yeah,
a
I
while.
bet.
There's something different about being in a room, even
Yeah.
doing this. Like
Right.
this is so much better than,
Yeah,
than
yeah.
when we had to do it on Zoom. And so I think it was just still writing and still processing, what is the Lord teaching me? What is the Lord like
Yeah.
speaking to me right now? What is he speaking to my family? And so through that, and eventually you start gathering songs that you like enough to say, well, let's get in the studio and record this one, and let's do that one. And so even this album, it does feel cohesive to me. It feels
Yeah,
like
I
a
agree.
collection that is all together. Like this is like the idea. But all the songs kind of came about through a long season of
Yes.
like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So
I heard our father, John Eldridge. I heard John
Daddy
Eldridge.
John?
Yeah, Daddy John. Ew, that's awful. But it's gonna stick. I heard him say last week on his podcast, he was kind of going like, here's the state of what could be going on in the world. Here's what we do if things go sideways, like when that glitch shut down all the airplanes.
Right, yeah.
So he's kind of talking about like, that's not a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you can't get in touch with people? What do you do? That
Right.
kind of thing. And he said, what I want you to do right now is start worshiping every morning. What does that say to you? Why does worship in your house, start of your day, matter?
yeah, I think there's something about giving. One of the things that I love about worship is that so much of it is me saying the things that I know I need, even if I don't like feel it in the
wow.
moment.
Wow.
It's speaking, it's almost like reading those prayer, like if you have like a prayer book that you just read the prayer that is like written before you, that you don't, I don't even know that I need this prayer until I start praying it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think worship is a lot like that, it's given like a language to say to God the things that you need to say it, even if you didn't know you needed to say it in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and music, man, it's such a gift that the Lord gave us music as like a main tool to worship him,
Yeah.
because it's such a awesome,
Yeah.
chill-inducing thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm the type that gets chill bumps when I hear songs that, move me, and that happens
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And so even having that like emotional, kind of visceral response to music is such
Yeah.
like a special. It's a special gift that we have.
I got out of the habit of having my house is. This might surprise you and our friends listening. My house is very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk a lot at home by myself, surprisingly, and I don't really play music all that much. I don't have things going all the time. So like
Yeah.
historically, my like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is silent.
Yeah.
And But a few months ago, on my Alexa, I added, after she reads me the news, it goes into a worship playlist.
Really?
And it is because I didn't have the bandwidth to remember to do it myself.
Yeah.
But now she does it. I jokingly call her Pastor
the
Alexa.
first thing you do is you ask Alexa for the news in the morning?
I just say good morning, and she gives me
she
like a
tells
quick
you
news,
quick
like here's
news?
the overnight
Interesting.
globally. It's
I
like
didn't even know that
3
she could do
minutes.
that.
Yeah, it's like a 3 minute.
And it doesn't start your day on like a depressing note?
No, because I'm a 7. We're like,
Okay.
sad for you, you know?
Okay. I had to take most of the news like off of my phone.
So don't, yeah. Personality types can
Right,
handle this
okay,
differently.
okay.
Yeah, it is actually a very good practice for
Yes,
me
okay.
to hear
Sorry.
what is going on globally, you know?
Okay, yes.
So, and it's only 3 minutes. It's
Yes.
just kind of like a high level,
Highlights.
hopefully not leaning left or right. It's just
Yeah,
kind
it's
of,
just,
Reuters.
here's what happened.
Just
Yeah.
Reuters, AP. And then it starts this playlist. And it has been such a different vibe
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think something happens when you worship in your house.
Yeah, I have music almost going on in our house like all the time. It's not
Yeah.
all worship, but almost always I will have some sort of like instrumental,
Yeah.
piano, like soft soothing.
Yeah.
Like I just like the peacefulness of it, but
Yeah.
it does kind of create like a atmosphere. I mean, even there's like some playlists that I have that are, it says like worship instrumental, but
Yeah.
it's not like worship songs instrumental. It's just, I guess, just like an instrumental music
Yeah.
that someone is offering to the Lord,
Yeah.
like in that
Wow.
space. And yeah, so we have that kind of going on in our house literally all the time.
Matt Maher taught us that when he was on, that whatever is spiritually going on with the songwriter gets written into the song, and we experience that as the worshiper, the listener.
Yeah, wow.
And he was like, it's a supernatural thing. It cannot be explained, but the
Right.
faith in us goes into you. The
Yeah.
worry in us can go into you. So for example, like Time and Time Again,
Yeah.
everyone's hearing that right now. What was in you that
Yeah.
is supernaturally being transferred to us? Because I can tell you how I feel after you tell me what was in you.
Yeah, well, I love that idea from Matt because songwriting it's such a mystery. Like it's so mysterious,
Yeah.
and especially like not only like where the songs come from,
Yeah.
how they get out is such a
Yes.
mystery. It's a mystery what songs connect. It's a mystery
Yeah.
what and so having that kind of the spiritual aspect of it in worship music where you don't know how a song is going to like touch
Yes,
somebody or minister
yes.
to somebody. So Time and Time Again is a song that I wrote with Josh Baldwin
Yeah.
of a co-host of Good at Sports podcast. And
I was about
Hank,
to say well-renowned podcast host.
and Hank Bentley, and that was a song. I think it was a song. It was in the mid, like early on of me and Meredith being foster parents. It was early on of like COVID, and I kind of came to the songwriting session like with this idea of like help is coming, like help is on the way. Like that's kind of where I was
Yeah,
at, where I was
yeah,
at in my life of
right.
like, Lord, like I need you bad.
Right.
And one of the interesting things about songwriting that like there's never like a bad idea because every idea will lead to something else and will lead
Wow.
to something else. And so that was the crux of like the
Yeah.
beginning. It was like
Yeah.
help is coming, help is on the way.
Yep.
And then somehow during the writing session, it kind of just switched to like, hey, like remember all the times that God showed up before and he's going to do it again. He's going to move again.
Yeah.
He's not done working with you yet. He's not
Wow.
done moving on your behalf. And so it just really became like a faith song. And if you listen to like any song that I write, almost all of them will in some way come back to like faith.
Yeah.
Because I'm so, man, I get distracted so easily. I get discouraged so easily by like what's right in front of me, what's like whatever my day might look like. And I'm like overwhelmed and stressed out or like, oh shoot, nothing's going right. And I always have to like, I'm a big breather. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
take like big deep breaths, and I've made it just a part of like my life. So every time I do it now, Meredith's like, "Hey, are you stressed about something right
Yeah,
now?" And
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
"No,
yeah.
it's just like it's like good for me."
Right, I'm
but
just
it's like
breathing.
but it's like a reminder of like, whew, okay,
Right.
like Jesus is with me, and Jesus is
Yeah.
here, and me and Meredith have gotten in the habit of like at the end of the year,
Yeah.
we list out everything that we can think of, like tangibly, like write it out of like positive things that the Lord did that
Wow.
year, or
Wow.
like just positive things like
Yeah.
Harvey making the robotics team,
Right.
Cyrus getting Matilda,
Yeah,
like stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, like anything that we can think of to the big things like a job
Yeah.
promotion or whatever. And that that changed so much in us because there have definitely been years, and I'm sure you feel this or your listeners feel this, that you feel like I am just in survival mode the whole time.
Yes.
And I just got to finish. I got to get through this year because this year has been a nightmare.
Yep.
And we've had years that during the year we thought we were just surviving.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, we'll like list out all the positive things that we saw in our lives and positive things. And it has challenged us to say like, no, like we were thriving in that. And it was hard and it might have been difficult, but look at all like the fruit that came out of that difficult year. Or look at all like the positive things that the Lord did. And so all that to say, this is a song that's about that. Time and time again, it's kind of like about that idea of like, you know, he'll come through. He did it before. He's going to come through again.
You do remind us of that a lot, that God did it before, he'll do it again. That is like one of your go-tos.
Like, I know.
That's really interesting.
It's literally because I have to be reminded of that like all the time. Like I get so just distracted all the time.
I am realizing that in real life. I'm like, I've sang that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. There's this video it's a reel, I think from Elevation Worship. And it's just the music is playing. And then Furtick walks up to the worship leader and says, Yahweh, we love you. Yahweh. And he leads the worship leader. And then the worship leader goes into it. And then they break into this song that I now sing all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is amazing to me that just this one response from one person's heart and calling God by name gets all that whole church singing. Now it's a song you can listen to. I just saw Taryn sing it at his church. And I sing it all the time. It's like it like lives in me. Yeah. And so there's something in you of God did it before, he'll do it again. You can believe him. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. So there's another song on the record that my daughter wrote.
Oh, we have to talk about it.
It's called The Best God.
The Best
and
God.
And that kind of came out of something similar where she, you know, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago, that she would just like, she's always writing songs, like quote unquote writing songs, but just like singing whatever comes to her mind. And she sang this like little chorus that was so precious and sweet. Like the lyrics are so precious and sweet. And Meredith kind of captured it on video, but it literally like lived in our house for years where we would just catch ourselves singing it over and over again. Like just, it's kind of like catchy a little bit. And we would just find ourselves like singing it. And so it has lived in our family for a while. And so to have it like on the record and to just kind of like lay it down on the record.
Y'all sing this whole thing at home.
Yeah.
Even the verse and the chorus.
Yeah. But I'm just saying like we would just kind of sing it just kind of out, you know, like just like when we're living life or when we're driving, it would just kind of come to our mind. So having her record it on the record is like really special and sweet.
Can I read the lyrics to people?
Yeah, they're awesome.
He's going to wipe those tears that are falling down when the sky starts shaking to the ground. God makes us land and God knows everything. He's the best God of my life. He will never leave my side.
I know, it's so sweet.
He's the best God of my life. That is the sweetest sentence.
It's like on surface level, it feels like they don't make sense. But then like you realize like they make perfect sense. And like it's so precious and such a sweet, childlike way to see the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really
And also the theology is very deep because we're supposed to have no other gods before him.
But
so
we
he
do.
is the best
he's
God
the best one.
of Cyrus's life.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I just thought that song moved. I mean, I'm thinking back to Annie at 9 years old or Annie at 6 years old and the things I would say to God. I often joke that like 13-year-old Annie made decisions about who she wanted to be that 44-year-old Annie is sometimes like, I didn't mean that. You know what?
I feel that.
Right?
I feel that, yes.
Teenage Annie said, I am committed to these things. And sometimes grown-up Annie is like,
I'm like, do I really like music that much? Like,
but the Lord holds me to it because he's like, no, she knew what she was saying. Cyrus knows what she's saying.
That's so sweet.
And so I like that the Lord will often go, I hear you.
Yeah.
There's an easier path, but 13-year-old Annie, she knew what she was saying.
Yeah.
And we will still believe her.
Yeah. It's so weird when you trace things back to that.
Right.
Like I'm like, how did I get here? Oh, when I was 16, I decided I wanted to play bass guitar.
That's right.
You know, it's
That's
like
right.
whatever it might be.
That's right.
So crazy.
I got saved and really meant it when I was 5, and my nephew's 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he is
Wow.
making memories right now. I have memories from being 4.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to forget some. That is wild to me. He's
Yeah.
just a baby a minute
crazy.
ago, right?
I know.
I thought about that last weekend with some friends in New York and their kids. I just thought, man, that's the same age where I started remembering this and that and the other. Like,
Yeah.
that's when you
Yeah.
remember.
I
Like,
know.
your kids are making choices with God.
That's
Cyrus
what
saying he's
stresses
the
me out
best
as
God.
that's what stresses me out as a
Stress,
parent. I'm like,
Dad.
what am I saying to my son that he's going to remember for the rest of his life is like a trauma,
listen.
thing.
All of us.
I know.
I've done it to my friends' kids too, I'm
Yeah.
sure. So it is all of us. We are all doing, I
let
believe
it
y'all are
go.
doing the best you can.
Lord,
That's exactly
lead
right.
us.
I texted with a friend the other morning and she said, I'm grieving some things that my parents didn't take care of when I was a kid. I had a dream about her physical health. And part of it is a response to her parents not getting something taken care of when she was younger. And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I just called her or I voice memoed her
Had
the
this dream
dream.
and
it
all aligned.
And what she said is, I sometimes grieve what my parents didn't know how to do or didn't do, whatever.
Right.
They're just trying. They're humans. And she said, and God loves to remind me that he is the better parent.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
And I thought, man, that
Yeah.
is so good for all my friends parenting, for
I
all of
know.
you. Like God's their parent.
Yeah. And maybe that takes a little bit of the pressure. Like literally, like maybe it takes a little bit of like the pressure off of like, we're all trying. We're all like, I want my kids to be the best version of themselves. I want them to feel loved and, have good relationship with them. But
Yeah. Is it like youth group time for them? Like is Harvey into youth group stuff?
not really, not totally yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they go to a great Christian school that's has kind of
So they have that
energy
community.
already. Yeah. So it's
Great.
but it's awesome. And
Yeah.
we love that school so much. And, they both have a great group of friends that we're very grateful for.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation one more time to tell you about one of our incredible partners, Thrive Cosmetics. Listen, if you're doing some fall wardrobe shopping and also want to spice up your fall makeup look, you've got to check out our favorite, Thrive Cosmetics. You know I talk about Thrive Cosmetics viral tubing mascara all the time. And you've seen it all over the internet, the one in the turquoise tube. It's easy to see why their bestsellers have thousands of 5-star reviews. I also think you guys would love their brilliant eye brightener. It's a highlighter eyeshadow combo that makes your eye look effortless. There are 17 buildable shades to choose from and play with, so you can use a little or as much as you like. You just apply a light shade, like their Stella shade, to the inner corner of your eyes to give you a glow and open them up. Or if you want a smoky eye, you can use the metallic shades all over your eyelid and blend with your finger. Y'all, it is so pretty. All of their products are certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free. And they're made with skin-loving, high-performance, and trademarked formulas. Thrive Cosmetics also donates to 8 major causes, including those impacted by cancer, domestic abuse, and veteran and education organizations. Spice up your fall look with Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/TSF. Like that sounds fun. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/TSF for 20% off your first order. And now back to finish up our conversation with Mack.
That sounds fun.
Talk to the parents for just a minute who they play the worship music in their house.
Yeah.
They're raising the kids. They're doing everything they know how to do. And some days just are going really bad. Like one kid is off the rails and it's been that way for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And one kid, no matter what they do, does not obey. I mean, how much can we control and how much can't we control when we're raising people?
I don't know. I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I'm like, I don't know. I get so stressed about that too. And like we
Because your
have
kids make mistakes, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many. And
Yeah.
we have like days where me and Meredith at the end of the day, we're just like, I am done being a parent today. Like, yeah.
They are all asleep
Yeah.
and I am done.
We're done parenting.
Yes.
And it is like, it is stressful. And I feel like I carry the weight of like being a dad more than any other thing in my life.
Wow.
Like that's the source of like, just most of my thoughts
Yeah.
is like about being a dad.
Yeah.
And what does Harvey need from me? What does Cyrus need from me? What does Zamir need from me? And just trying to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And they're definitely, I mean what I say when I said earlier about the Lord, like what the Lord has showed me is like, I know my kids are going to make mistakes. I know that I have to be their parent and be their, you know, the discipline and all that stuff. But more so than that, what I keep coming back to is just like the grace that the Lord has in my own life and how he keeps leading me with love more than anything else. And there's going to be consequences to my actions.
Right.
You know, he doesn't take away all that stuff, but he always leads with love. And I think about that, you know, with my kids all the time of there are going to be times where I'm going to have to ground them, take away their screens, you know, all that stuff. But the relationship that I have with them is so important.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to, once I lose that relationship and I don't even have a voice in their life is where I feel like I've like lost control, you know, or I've lost it all.
Yeah.
And so I'm like right in the middle of it. So I'm not on the, well, this is what I did and it worked out. I'm like right in the thick of it. So I don't have like a lot of, try this out as much as.
I think that's a really good wisdom.
As much as that's kind of our approach and what's on my mind, like literally all the time.
I mean, is this? I think it's really interesting when you do faith work.
Yes.
And your kids, I mean, it's the pastor kids problem.
Right.
Where your parents are doing faith work, which both you and Meredith do work in the faith space, mostly for faith people, though there are obviously some that aren't. And I just think, man, your kids for their whole lives are going to have these albums. And like, while they've lived with you and experienced you loving them as best you can and doing the best you can and being such a loving, good dad, y'all are very good parents in my experience. They also have this of you.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
That they get to like hear you say, you can believe it, what you saw God do, he'll do again. What you saw God do, he'll do again. Like your kids get to hear that for the rest of their lives from their dad
that's
on
good.
a recorded album.
Oh, I love that. I haven't ever thought about that.
I think it's
that's
really
good.
cool.
I love that.
Cyrus, when she is 16 and making you crazy,
Yeah.
still wrote, he's the best God of my life.
Yes. Come on.
You know? So you
Yes,
just play
I
it
love
over the
that.
house while she's being a brat.
Yes.
You just play it over the house and be like, remember, this is who you are.
Right.
Let me remind you who you are. This is like asking your favorite kid, what's your favorite song? Do you have a favorite song? Is it The Best God?
It's the Best God is like, that's the one that I listen to all the time.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know. I like all the songs for different reasons. They all have different things that they speak to me. There's a song that I did that's not going to be like a, you know, with albums now we have like our singles, but then we also have our focus songs that we have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like,
what does that mean?
What are we going to do all the content for on social media? Like there's like stuff like this. But there's a song on the
insider
album.
information we didn't know.
There's a song on the album called Be Near that I sang with Jenna Barrientos, who's a friend. It's not a focus song. It's not like, it's like a deep cut, but I'm always drawn to, I'm like B-sides
I'm straight
all day.
through. I want to hear the whole album. Y'all don't get to read one chapter of my book. You got to read the whole book.
Right.
I feel the same.
Yeah, and that song for some reason really speaks to me like beautiful. A lot. Like it's she leads it so well. But just even the idea of that song is like really sweet to me and kind of touches me. And there are a lot of good ones that I'm excited about.
Okay, so the album is titled This Is Holy.
Yeah.
Available now. People can hear it right now where
Everywhere.
they're listening. Everywhere. Okay, here's the last thing I want to ask you before I ask you about fun. You're traveling and leading worship across the country. We are hearing these other voices. We're in the middle of an election season. It is...
Really?
Did you know?
Oh,
Have you here in the U.S.?
Interesting.
Maybe
Oh,
you've been in
okay,
Greece.
yeah.
You've been in Greece.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, but we're going to vote in a few weeks. What are you seeing God do? Give us some hope about what you're seeing God do in rooms of people worshiping and at these events you're going to, and even you're doing a smaller event tonight. Like, what is God doing right now that you haven't seen Him do before? Is there something, or is it just more of good?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like what I haven't seen Him do before as much as one of the greatest gifts that I get to experience is to go and lead worship at so many different churches and so many different styles and different leaderships and different, places and people that think different ways,
Yeah.
And it is sweet that in those moments that we are gathered together and we're singing the same thing to God, all creation cry holy, whatever it might be, whatever song you're leading, and to have so many people all singing the same thing to God, I never get tired of that.
Yeah.
That's such like a gift. And that's such a sweet, unifying thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's where not only like, not political beliefs, but just like your life stresses, you can leave that aside for just a second and focus your attention on the Lord. And so just seeing that, like literally every time I get to lead worship, I never get tired of that. And I think that that's like a special thing. And I think worship music really is, I don't know how I'll say this. I think that people are more receptive to like the power of like what worship can do in a room and what worship can do like in your life. Like you're talking about playing it in your house in the mornings. I think there's just like more of a, when I was growing up, worship was awesome and I loved it and I was like drawn to it, but it felt like a song that you would sing before the message. You know, like it felt a little bit more compartmentalized. And those moments were very special, but it felt, at least for me, it was like compartmentalized. And I feel like now even me and people that I meet, there's like a reception to like the power that goes beyond just singing, you know, that goes beyond like, what is the Holy Spirit doing in this moment? What is, you know, what can worship do in my life that's like a freeing thing? So I don't know. That's a
good.
long answer. Yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, I so clearly remember the first worship CD I purchased. Where I was like, I can hear this at home.
Right. Yeah.
Like, because you're right. It was really compartmentalized to gatherings.
And
it wasn't you can play this at home. There, I mean, I could listen to Michael W. Smith and I could listen to Stephen Curtis Chapman, but we didn't have
Delirious.
worship.
You get Delirious, Cutting Edge.
That's exact. Get me started on. Did you hear the mountains tremble? Are you kidding? What I would pay.
Life-changing.
What I would pay for if Delirious went through and said, we're going to play that album front to back, it's $1,000 a seat.
Yes,
I'd be
let's
like,
go.
let me seriously
Let's
consider.
go.
I might
Oasis, whatever. Not interested.
Not interested. Delirious.
Give me Delirious.
Cutting Edge, both. It'd have to be both CDs.
Both tin can CDs.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but I just remember, you're right. It makes me interested of why God saw fit to, over the last 30 years, 25 years, to bring worship into our homes.
Yeah. It's interesting.
You started that. I'm just saying back to you what you said to me.
But that is, I haven't thought about it in the sense of like that it wasn't in our homes at a time. You know, I hadn't really even thought about that.
I don't remember worship album. I mean, I'll tell you why, because I remember being at a camp and that camp band sold a CD and I was like, what? But
I'm trying
For
to even
$5?
think like way back in the day, would like you come home, like before like recorded music existed, like would people like worship in their home really? Like, or
how can we find that out?
Yeah, I don't know. If you're a historian,
if you
text
know
Annie at thatsoundsfun.com.
You text emails? Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting. Okay,
no,
I mean,
my
fine.
brain just moves different. Like I misfire all the time.
Yes, they could respond to us. There's got to be someone who can tell us in like 300 AD.
Yeah, like what would they do?
1000 AD. What would they do?
It, you know,
did they sing in
that's
their
an
homes?
interesting idea.
Yeah. Great. Loved it. What do we not say that you want to make sure we say?
Nothing.
Great.
Yeah.
I can't wait for people. This is an album to just blast through your house. It was such a treat to listen to.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I'm really, really grateful for your skill and your writing. I mean, it is such a gift to those of us who my gift is not short sentences. And so you say in 100 words what it takes me 40,000 to say. And so I am really grateful.
Thank you.
The last question we always ask, we usually ask at the beginning, but we just jumped in. Because the show is called That Sounds Fun, what are y'all doing for fun right now? What sounds fun to you?
Man. Okay. First, can I say something that I had a revelation about me and you?
Okay.
Heading into this podcast, because I was thinking I wonder what we're going to talk about. Because you have a lot of friends on your podcast.
Yes.
And
including you.
Yeah. So this is what I'm getting at is all your friends come on and everybody has funny stories like, oh, remember this? Remember this?
Yeah.
And I realized that me and you and my wife, Meredith, have such an interesting relationship that we see each other maybe once a year, twice a year max. And when we see each other, we like dump all the heavy stuff that's going on in
That's
our
right.
lives.
That's
like
right.
it's like we go in so deep.
That's why I
so
cried when I was
fast.
praying before we started because I was like, this is like my brother
And
sitting here.
I was like, when I'm on Annie's podcast, I can't really even talk about all the times that we get together because most of
Right.
the time we get together, it's like, hey, here's the heaviest thing that I've experienced
Yes.
in the last year.
Yes.
What have
What's
you
yours?
gone through?
Yeah. That is, I mean, there are like 8 things I'm like, I want to tell Mac about that. Can't do it on the show. I want to tell Mac about that. Can't do it on the show.
It's so
Yeah.
much. So
it makes me very
that
grateful.
it was a funny realization going
Yeah.
into today. What sounds fun to me, I know we've talked a lot about dad stuff.
Yeah.
But literally like seeing my kids do the things that they are passionate about has been, as a parent, like it has been the most fun thing. So my daughter, like I said, she's big into musical theater. She was Matilda in the Matilda play this summer.
So sweet.
And I was at like every rehearsal.
Yeah.
I'm not theater dad where I'm like barking
You're
out
not a
all the
momager.
mistakes.
Yeah.
But I'm just like in awe of like her and in awe of like what she does. And my son's into wrestling. And so going to like all of his matches maybe. I got to learn the lingo.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
a
the lingo
new
either.
wrestler dad. Going to all his matches and then like me and him hanging and watching the
Yeah.
high schoolers wrestle afterwards. Like just that whole side of parenthood has been such a new gift.
Yeah.
That's fun to me. We got NFL is back. That's
Let's
fun
go.
to me. Just like
Same. Man, that
watching
first
all day
football
long.
weekend, I was like, we did it. We're back.
I know.
We survived.
And then the NBA is like right around the corner.
Yes. Which I know you love. You know
So
how
here's
bored I get.
Here's the only problem with me is that when I moved to Charlotte, I fully committed to Charlotte sports.
Yeah, that's a bad choice.
This is what I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been it's been a long, hard journey as a Panthers. Whew, let's not even talk about that. But as a
tough.
Hornets fan
It's
as well, it's been a tough journey. But
You made her friends with a real Hornet,
I'm
though.
committed. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Cody Zeller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we love
him.
Cody.
I love Cody.
Cody and Leanna, we love them.
He's wonderful. You shared
so-
your friend with me. I got to be friends with a real Hornet. I have a jersey.
Yeah.
So,
So all that stuff is all fun to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have got to take Cyrus to see Mary Kate as Elphaba in New York. You know, one of my best friends is Elphaba until March.
Really?
Until March 2nd.
Really?
So, and she is so good. It will, you don't know what to do. And when I take new friends.
That's my like.
Okay.
That I love Wicked. Like it's
Okay,
one of my
good.
favorites. So I should do that.
Yes, try to get her up there before
she
the-
won't listen to this, but we just bought. She turns 10 in January.
Okay.
And we just got her Hamilton tickets.
Oh, good.
for
In
her
New York or in
No,
Charlotte?
It's coming to Charlotte the
Great.
week before her birthday.
Oh, great.
So I'm so excited about that. Don't spoil it
I
for
also
her.
thought she
Any
did listen
listener
to
out
the
there
show,
that knows
but
my
rude.
yeah,
I'm offended. I
know,
thought she was
I
a
know.
listener.
But maybe I should make a trip to New York as well.
Oh, please do. I mean, I don't
can't-
know when I'll
can't-
ever be friends with an Elphaba again.
Yeah.
So,
And if you give me any like say anything to like spoil my daughter, I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what we need to do. Bring your family to New York. Y'all go. I will help you get to see Wicked. You can meet MK. I mean, she's just
The girl, there's
wild.
a friend of mine. She's from Charlotte, Eva, who is in The Great Gatsby now, which is another
yeah.
play
Oh
that
my
I
gosh,
want
you're friends with Eva. That's in Great
Yeah.
Gatsby. She's so good.
I know she's unreal.
She's so good. How are y'all friends?
I knew her back in the day in Charlotte through
Wild.
church and stuff, but
She's so
watching
talented.
her, like I'm not like super close to her, but just watching her,
Yeah.
you know, succeed at every step
Yes,
of the way
yes.
and all the things that she does. She's amazing.
She's
and she sounds so
amazing
good.
in that role, too.
Like her voice is unreal.
The thing last fall and in the winter on Broadway was Moving Water. Gatsby had it. Water for Elephants
Okay.
had it. Outsiders has it.
Oh, that's not a play. I thought you were saying it was a play called Moving Water.
No.
I was like, I haven't heard of that one yet.
Literally, there was this theme of living
That's
water
like,
everywhere
oh,
that moved.
gotcha.
Right.
Interesting.
And so Gatsby has real water. I mean, it's just really
Really?
interesting that they have figured out that there was like this hot moment of
Maybe I'll have to
living
go
water.
see Wicked, and then we'll go
Yep.
see Gatsby. We'll
That's it. That you can do it in the same day. You can
Matinee,
fly up,
yeah.
do the mat of. We'll figure out, make sure both
Can we
of
get
the
on that
leads
last
are on.
flight out, just like we like
just
to
take
do?
that last flight. No, probably not because you got to go that last show. But it is worth it. So let's all get. I'll go up there when you're there. Let's
do
all
it.
go up. Bring the fam. We'll
Yeah.
all go.
I've got
two. I live there part time. I've already got
Part-time.
two sets of friends going to Wicked in the next 2 months where I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go
love
as
it.
many times.
I know.
And I pay for my ticket every time. I will go as many times because someday one of my best friends will not be Elphaba.
That's amazing.
So,
That's
she's amazing.
insane. Yeah.
She's amazing. All right. I love you, buddy. Thank you so much.
This
for doing
has been the absolute best.
Yeah,
Thank you.
mutual. Thank you. Oh, you guys, isn't he the best? Gosh, I love Mack and Meredith Brock. I just love his music. He's like a brother to me. I mean, literally, we both were teary getting to see each other. I just think the world of him and his music. As always, head over to social media. Tell Mack thank you so much for being on the show and start streaming that album. You are going to love it. Again, it is called This Is Holy. Hey, if you love this episode, I bet you're also going to love episode 506 with Chris Brown from Elevation Worship or episode 416 with Brandon Lake. We got some Carolina boys in these podcasts. If you have any questions from this episode, drop them in the Q&A box on your Spotify app if you're a Spotify listener like me, or send them to us on Instagram at That Sounds Fun Podcast. We'll try to answer them there for you. Make sure you're following That Sounds Fun Podcast. It is a fun ride over there. If you need anything else from me, I'm embarrassingly easy to find. Annie F. Downs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Anywhere you may need me, that is where you can find me. I think that's it for me today, friends. Go out or stay home. Do something that sounds fun to you, and I will do the same. Today, what sounds fun to me, y'all know we are knee deep in our planning meetings for 2025 and some of 2026. So I genuinely love these days where we dream and plan together. So pray for us. If you're thinking about it right now, pray for us as we finish up these last couple of days of planning what God might have specifically for us to do, the work for our hands to do over the next couple of years. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday with the lazy genius herself, our girl, Kendra Adachi. We'll see y'all then.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Check 1, 2 on the microphone. Annie F. Downs in your car to your home. Every week it's something new. A deep talk or an interview. She'll make you laugh, she'll make you cry. When it's dark out, she's a light.